Hello, hello. Hey there, YouTube, slasher chicks and slasher dudes. My name's Alicia, and this is Slasher Chick TV, where we like to talk about growth mindset and negotiation strategies. So you never have to choose between this or that. You can always say yes to this slash that. And my background hates me at the moment, but we're gonna see what we can do about that. Did I go away? Ooh. All right, that's not quite what I was going for. We just need a little more light, maybe a little more natural light. This is not doing what I wanted it to do. Oh, okay, and a little more natural light. Hold on. Let's fix this right. Hold on. I could have sworn I tested this out earlier, and I had, but alas, here we are. Now, if you are new to my VIP Reset Sundays, then you might wonder what do we do here? And I will share that with you in just a moment. But again, yeah, my name is Alicia. This is Slasher Chick TV, where we like to talk about growth mindset and negotiation strategies so you can all design a life that you love by never having to choose between this or that and being able to say yes to this slash that. And I'm actually on a journey myself in completing, if you look at the banner below, a 90-day live stream challenge. And today is day 60 of 90 consecutive days of live streaming. And I am giving myself a round of applause for this milestone. Now, I meant to prepare to do a bit of an analytics review today, but I didn't. Um, because it falls in line with this VIP reset routine where the purpose is to focus on your vision, your intention, and then your purpose, and to use that as a framework to kind of get set for the week and take a look back at what you've accomplished so far. And those who practice this generally achieve more. And I am actually in the start of a 12-week year. So it felt apropos that I would go ahead and begin a weekly reset. And this will be the time that I measure my success for the 12-week year as well, moving forward, because I have made my vision, I've made it plain, and I know what exactly I'm going to work on over those 12 weeks. One of those being the monetization of my YouTube channel, the other being lose 10 pounds, and the third being to launch my negotiation course. We talked about that already. And now, this is a past vision board. I think I may have shared it. So yeah, we're gonna focus on this here right now. And this is I used to on my Sunday Reset show. I started doing like these monthly vision boards. I realized I want to move to more of a quarterly, but these are a couple past ones as well. And I achieved most of the things on these boards. So I love vision boarding because it has always worked for me in keeping me focused on my goals and bringing them from ideation to fruition. Now, intentions, as I've stated before, is more of like how you're going to go about the things, not necessarily where you're going to, but how you intend to get there, with what kind of energy or mindset do you intend to take along the way. So I'll quickly go through these because they're not different intentions that I had last week. But I will say right now, my main intention is to stay in a state of um, stay in the zone and in a state of flow as much as possible. And so the last P we say to use for focusing on the present day or planning for the future or prepping for a short-term goal or taking it as an opportunity to praise yourself for some successes. Now, that's the VIP Sunday reset routine if you've never been here before. And today, I wanted to show one of the things that I use as a look back, where I've talked about in previous live stream how past commencement speeches are great motivational tools for me. And I went back recently to a couple of the ones that I found the most impactful, and I want to share some of the lessons that I've taken away from them, and they can be used as some of the intentions. One of them is J.K. Rowling's 2008 commencement speech at Harvard, and I'll just share a quick snippet of what she said that resonated with me.
Found out for the first time on graduation day. Of all the subjects on this planet, I think they would have been hard put to name one less useful than Greek mythology when it came to securing the keys to an executive bathroom.
All right, that's about her parents.
Now, I would like to make it clear in parenthesis that I do not blame my parents for their point of view. There is an expiry date on blaming your parents for steering you in the wrong direction.
Now, I did leave that part in there because I totally agree. Maybe the way she phrased it afterwards, I less agree, but it is true. At some point, you become an adult and you're responsible for your own choices.
The moment you are old enough to take the wheel, responsibility lies with you. What is more, I cannot criticize my parents for hoping that I would never experience poverty. They had been poor themselves, and I have since been poor. And I quite agree with them that it is not an ennobling experience. Poverty entails fear and stress, and sometimes depression. It means 1,000 petty humiliations and hardships. Climbing out of poverty by your own efforts, that is something on which to pride yourself. But poverty itself is romanticized only by fools. What I feared most—
Yeah, it costs a lot to be poor, especially in the United States. And to think that some people think others would choose that is, I mean, maybe there are some people that do.
For myself at your age.
But there are some people that are also just working really hard to overcome their life circumstances that were no fault of theirs.
Was not poverty, but failure. At your age, in spite of a distinct lack of motivation at university, where I had spent far too long in the coffee bar writing stories and far too little time at lectures, I had a knack for passing examinations. And that, for years, had been the measure of success in my life and that of my peers. Now, I am not dull enough to suppose that because you are young, gifted, and well-educated, you have never known heartbreak, hardship, or heartache. Talent and intelligence never yet inoculated anyone against the caprice of the fates. And I do not for a moment suppose that everyone here has enjoyed an existence of unruffled privilege and contentment.
Indeed.
However, the fact that you are graduating from Harvard—
But now that they are graduating from Harvard, it does put them a step above a lot of other people. They've got some extra privilege now associated with
you are not very well acquainted with failure. You might be driven by a fear of failure quite as much as a desire for success. Indeed, your conception of failure might not be too far removed from the average person's idea of success.
And
so high have you already flown. Ultimately, we all have to decide for ourselves what constitutes failure. But the world is quite eager to give you a set of criteria if you let it. So I think it fair to say that by any conventional measure, a mere 7 years after my graduation day, I had failed on an epic scale. An exceptionally short-lived marriage had imploded, and I was jobless, a lone parent, and as poor as it is possible to be in modern Britain without being homeless. The fears that my parents had for me and that I had for myself had both come to pass.
Now, I find personally that's one of the things that is true in life, is that when you legitimately have no choice but to face your worst fears, like when you experience them and you realize that you can survive them, it adds another level of resiliency to you that you didn't even know that you had.
And by every usual standard, I was the biggest failure I knew. Now, I'm not going to stand here and tell you that failure is fun. That period of my life was a dark one, and I had no idea that there was going to be what the press has since represented as a kind of fairy tale resolution. I had no idea then how far the tunnel extended, and for a long time, any light at the end of it was a hope rather than a reality. So why do I talk about the benefits of failure? Simply because failure meant a stripping away of the inessential. I stopped pretending to myself that I was anything other than what I was, and began to direct all my energy into finishing the only work that mattered to me. Had I really succeeded at anything else, I might never have found the determination to succeed in the one arena where I believe I truly belonged. I was set free because my greatest fear had been realized, and I was still alive.
See, she just said it. And maybe that's again where the message had been driven home, that I, felt that way. But there's a freedom associated with facing your fears and accepting a failure.
And I still had a daughter whom I adored, and I had an old typewriter and a big idea. And so rock bottom became the solid foundation on which I rebuilt my life.
But that right there is the line in which why this particular commencement speech has stuck with me, and what made me want to bring it to today. And I'm just gonna, it bears repeating.
Fear had been realized, and I was still alive, and I still had a daughter whom I adored, and I had an old typewriter.
My greatest fear had been realized, and I was still alive.
And a big idea. And so rock bottom became the solid foundation on which I rebuilt my life.
So that was it for that one. I just, whenever I, have a moment where I am feeling less than hopeful, or like the futures that I desire for myself is maybe not possible, I go back to that particular commencement speech, because certainly she had a reason to give up, or to not have hope, or to even think the level of outcomes that she's achieved since were even, possible for her. So that's one. Now, the other I want to highlight is, let's make sure this doesn't start too soon for me. Okay, great. Perfect section there. And that's actually where I want to end. But the other one I want to highlight is Jim Carrey. Jim Carrey is notoriously known for his $10 million manifestation story. So it is not surprising that he would have a commencement speech that, really shares the value of accepting responsibility for your own outcomes. And let me just get to the point where I wanted to share here. Actually, I'm going to wait on that one. We're going to go back to Shonda Rhimes, and hers was the commencement speech she gave at Dartmouth, and it was before her Year of Yes book came out. But that was a book that really stuck with me. And at the time of my life when I read that book, I was surviving, but not quite thriving. I wasn't taking like any risk, I would say, or certainly the risks I was taking were strategic. They might have been stupid. So it really shifted my perspective at that time in my life in a way that made me just start to do things differently.
In 20 years. Okay, so here comes the real deal part of the speech, or you might call it some random stuff, some random alum who runs a TV show thinks I should know before I graduate. You ready? When people give these kinds of speeches, they usually tell you all kinds of wise and heartfelt things. They have wisdom to impart. They have lessons to share. They tell you, follow your dreams, listen to your spirit, change the world, make your mark, find your inner voice and make it sing, embrace failure, dream and dream big. As a matter of fact, dream and don't stop dreaming until all of your dreams come true. I think that's crap. I think a lot of people dream, and while they are busy dreaming, the really happy people, the really successful people, the really interesting, engaged, powerful people are busy doing.
Now,
the dreamers,
as I mentioned, I'm starting my 12-week year, and the 12-week year is really talking about, like, yes, you can have a fantastic dream, but the difference between the dream and those who actually succeed in it is about execution. And, one quote or cliche that's always stuck out for me that I don't think I fully understood until, and I've said it before, but that I am understanding in a different way than I've ever had before, is that hard work beats talent. Period. Like, now. But the second part, I forgot who's been quoted as saying this, is like, hard work beats talent that doesn't work hard. If you've got talent and you work hard, you could be unstoppable. But it's going to be the difference between you waxing poetic or executing.
They stare at the sky and they make plans and they hope
Needs the
and they
yoga.
talk about it endlessly. And they start a lot of sentences with, I want to be, or I wish. I want to be a writer. I wish I could travel around the world. And they dream of it. The buttoned up ones meet for cocktails and they brag about their dreams. And the hippie ones have vision boards and they meditate about their dreams. And maybe you write in journals about your dreams or discuss it endlessly with your best friend or your girlfriend or your mother. And it feels.
See, I just caught a stray. And this is why, that right there is why I go back to this commencement speech when I'm like, something's not quite feeling right. And that hit me again. Okay. I knew what part to go to, but I hadn't rewatched it until just now. And that's everything.
Feels really good. You're talking about it and you're planning it kind of. You are blue skying your life. And that is what everyone says you should be doing, right? I mean, that's what Oprah and Bill Gates did to get successful, right? No. Dreams are lovely, but they are just dreams, fleeting, ephemeral, pretty. But dreams do not come true just because you dream them. It's hard work that makes things happen. It's hard work that creates change. So lesson 1, I guess, is ditch the dream and be a doer, not a dreamer. Maybe you know exactly what it is you dream of being, or maybe you're paralyzed because you have no idea what your passion is. The truth is, it doesn't matter. You don't have to know. You just have to keep moving forward. You just have to keep doing something.
Yeah, I'm going to stop it right there. You don't have to know what the dream is. You just have to keep moving forward and you have to keep doing something and putting one foot in front of the other. And that is why throughout this channel, I continue to focus on progress over perfection. Perfection will keep you from moving forward at all. Perfection will have you in paralysis mode and not a thing gets done. But if you can accept that progress over perfection is still what it takes to build monuments, then you will get there one step at a time. And that's what the goal is. Now, if you had been to one of my previous VIP Reset Sundays, then you may have seen my previous connection with Pi, which is another GPT beyond Chat GPT, but it's one that's meant to be more focused on wellness and generally kind of just more human. And last week I set up a Sunday sync John and Pi, and we were going to come back to it this week and finally use it. And so I don't know how this is going to go, but let's try it. Now, I set it up so that hopefully it remembers this. And where does it go? Okay. So here's my weekly check-in in Pi. And yes, I did have a Memorial Day last weekend. Okay. And so it says I can start it again by just saying start Sunday sync. That's the prompt we set up. Ooh, child. Oh, wait, I can get it to talk to me. I forgot.
Welcome back to your Sunday Sync Slasher. Let's start off with a quote or affirmation for this week. Believe in yourself and all that you are. Know that there is something inside you that is greater than any obstacle. Christian D. Larson.
I love this.
Now that you're inspired, let's dive into your weekly reflection. 1. Review. What went well this week? What could have gone better? 2. Recalibrate. How can you build on your successes and address your challenges? 3. Renew. What's your plan for the coming week?
Okay, so what went well this week? What could have gone better is, okay, I'll acknowledge. I felt lonely in some of my personal relationships in a way that I had to acknowledge that when you're making changes, okay, when you can't type either, making changes and focusing on your own like evolution, it means grieving your old self. I'm comfortable with it. It doesn't mean that I like it. Honestly, that's what went well and what could have gone better. I achieved goals. but I failed at attending a doctor's appointment that I needed to, and I rescheduled it. Well, I didn't even reschedule it, but bottom line is I prioritized like work over wellness. During that, with that decision, you know, and that's a failure to me. Now, as for number 2, I don't even remember what you said for number 2. Let's see. How could you build on your successes and address your challenges? Okay, well, I could reschedule the doctor's appointment. And I will begin journaling to manage how I am feeling about the grief associated with change. And my plan for the week is to start my 12-week year. I'm going to say it with success. Oh, and get my car detailed. Because I'm going out of town next week, so I got to have that happen before I leave.
It sounds like this week has been an emotional roller coaster. It's important to remember that growth often comes with growing pains and that acknowledging your feelings is an essential part of the
I
process.
feel like I'm being coached, for sure.
Let's recap your Sunday sync.
Yeah.
1, you face some loneliness in your personal relationships and realize that personal evolution can sometimes come with grief. You achieve some goals, but prioritized
I just
work
said the same
over
thing.
wellness by missing a doctor's appointment. 2, to move forward, you'll reschedule your doctor's appointment and start journaling to cope with the feelings associated with
What
change.
was that, AI?
3, for the coming week, you'll kickstart your 12-week year with success and get your car detailed. Is there anything else you'd like to add or change before we wrap up your Sunday sync?
I would like to celebrate that the Sunday sync work. Is adding value. I'll just say that.
That's a fantastic thing to celebrate. Consistency and reflection are powerful tools for personal growth. And it's great that you're seeing the value in this weekly practice.
Why is she talking so slow?
Let's give a big shout out to you for committing to the Sunday sync and making it a part of your routine. High five. How do you plan to celebrate this small win?
All right, that's a good. I don't know. Do you have any suggestions? I mean, acknowledging it feels like a lot.
Sure thing.
I was thinking.
Here are some
about
ideas to
myself.
celebrate your commitment to the Sunday sync practice. 1, treat yourself. Indulge in your favorite dessert or a small luxury item that brings you joy. 2, share your success. Tell a friend or family member about your achievement and how proud you are of yourself. 3, relax and unwind. Take some time to do something you enjoy, like watching a movie, reading a book, or taking a warm bath. 4, celebrate virtually. Share your accomplishment on social media or in an online community and bask in the virtual cheers and applause. 5, personal note. Write yourself a congratulatory note to acknowledge your hard work and progress. Pick whichever one resonates with you the most or come up with your own celebration idea.
Okay, so we're celebrating here right now, so we're just gonna name that in my.
That's a fantastic way to celebrate. And you've got an exciting milestone coming up with your live streaming
This is an
challenge.
exciting
Make sure to
milestone.
give yourself a pat on the back for your perseverance and dedication to the Sunday sync. Before we wrap up, is there anything else you'd like to discuss or reflect on this week?
That's all. Thanks for your support. My neighbors are jamming outside. I don't know if y'all
You're
can
very
hear.
welcome. It's been a pleasure to accompany you on your journey of self-reflection and personal growth. Keep up the great work, Slasher. I'll be here next Sunday for another sync.
This is so awesome because here's the thing. I will be able to go back and look at these in the future. Now, she didn't ask what day it was today. So I'm gonna note that. There we go. I want to be able to come back to that in this thread.
Absolutely. I've noted that today is Sunday, June 2nd, 2024. And this is our second Sunday sync session. I'll keep track of our conversations so you can revisit them easily in the future.
All right, y'all. That was actually pretty cool doing my Sunday sync. And I really do like this practice. I think I might build it out a little bit more. But I love that I will be able to go back and look at this, 4 weeks from now and see kind of like how things evolved, what's different about how I was feeling versus how I was feeling then. Um, and I will, as I said, use this as a way to check in as I complete my 12-week year objectives and try to get to that goal. But there was one last thing that I wanted to share with you as we leave today. That was apropos. What I said I would go back to was the Jim Carrey commencement speech, and um, feels, yeah, right on time because the whole thing is about even using this the VIP Sunday reset is just really getting focused and present so that you can spend more of your time and life in a state of flow and feeling like you're in the zone. And I know that's what I aspire to have. I want more people to have that because to me, that's like the definition of joy. And I think I've gotten to the point of what I wanted to share here to kind of close us out and remind you to stay focused on the present because it's the only moment that exists. And that is why it's called the present, because it is, in fact, a gift. And as soon as my technical difficulties decide they're done messing up, we'll be able to do. Um, but I gotta get to the part I was thinking about. I don't think I'm there yet. There we go. Yes, give yourself a round of applause. You made it to Sunday as we start another week. Yeah, here we go. All right. So I finally, though, as I have done this stream, have finally nailed my outro and the thing I would like to leave on my channel. Because I just think it's not said enough. And we should say it to ourselves and each other more frequently. So, but I will close by saying, if no one else told you today, you are more than enough, and I love you. And we're going to let Jim Carrey go ahead and take us on out.
Whole life imagining ghosts, worrying about the pathway to the future, but all there will ever be is what's happening here and the decisions we make in this moment, which are based in either love or fear. So many of us choose our path out of fear disguised as practicality. What we really want seems impossibly out of reach and ridiculous to expect, so we never dare to ask the universe for it. I'm saying I'm the proof that you can ask the universe for it. Please. And if it doesn't